Horror is more than just cheap jump scares, gory splatterfests, or creepy creatures. Horror is a means for us to explore our emotions, our fears of the reality we're forced to try and make sense of. Horror lets us explore the darker parts of humanity, the grayer parts of morality, and the shameful parts of society. But there's nothing wrong with a good old gruesome time either. However, when it comes to horror in anime, there's quite a bit of debate around whether or not the medium can work to provide scares on the level of other mediums. But as I just laid out, horror is about a lot more than just cowering under your blanket waiting for the next jump scare. Horror in this context is more of a subgenre or highlight to the story's primary themes. It asks you to consider what the story is telling you and accept the fear of our world as it relates to the fiction it presents. For a more in-depth discussion on the discourse around horror in anime, I highly recommend you go check out my good friend Urban the Myth's video on it, as it's A, really good, and B, he was a vital part of making this video happen with a lot of recommendations and feedback. With all of this in mind, I thought it'd be fun to give you all a list of some good horror anime to whet your appetite for the spooky, creepy, and suspenseful. So curl up in your blanket, grab some warm cider, and let's talk about the horror anime you should be watching. Being a teenager can be hard. Oftentimes, things that will seem trivial in the future can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you in the moment. Graduating high school and leaving your friends, getting rejected by your first crush, or an argument with your best friend may as well be the end of life as you know it. That is the theme of Higurashi, aka School Life. Gakko is about a group of girls living together in their high school, but what it really is about is the trauma of the adolescent girls and showing how painful the simplest things can be for someone. It uses horror to undermine the tropes of the slice of life genre and uses its comedy to speak to the pain that each girl is feeling. I really don't want to say more, as the show handles its premise and twists wonderfully, and there's a beautiful nuance to it that all must be seen to truly understand. Once you've finished it, I highly recommend going back to Urban the Myth's channel and watching his videos on the show as well, as he has such a firm grasp on everything in this show that I genuinely was scared to try and make a video on it, as it couldn't be as good as anything he's made. You can find School Live on Crunchyroll and High Dive, and thus either of those versions on Verve. In a small town where everyone knows each other, it's easy for paranoia and fear to take hold. Strangers moving to town, individuals going against the grain, and sudden deaths will cause rumors and hysteria to grip the inhabitants. However, in Shiki, there is a reason for the villagers to be scared. They just refuse to accept the truth. As the town slowly starts to die out and rise up, Shiki will start to ask you about human nature and what monster lies beneath our thin veneer of morality. Is there truly a killer in all of us if things get desperate enough? Could we be convinced to kill our own family if they'd done the same to others? At what point does your neighbor become your enemy? You can watch Shiki on Hulu, but two of the best episodes in the series, 20.5 and 21.5, are not streaming anywhere legal, so you will have to find other means to get them. While they're not vital to the plot of the show, they are well worth the search, as they're both powerful and provocative in ways unique to even the rest of the show. Speaking of paranoia in small towns, Higurashi When They Cry is a uniquely horror experience about all sorts of fears that can grip an individual about their surroundings. From the abstract of a town's urban legends to the intimate threat of those you think are your closest friends, Higurashi's looping events present a mystery that only you, as the omniscient viewer, can piece together. Being based on a visual novel, the show loops through varying versions of the same few days in 4 to 5 episode segments to represent the various paths you can take. Each one of these chapters offers a different perspective on the town and characters that cause different events and outcomes to play out, ranging from paranoia and town-wide conspiracy to supernatural possession and torture. However, the scariest part of the whole show is the absolutely abysmal slice of life scenes. I can't stress this enough. They are so bad. They're not funny. They're not cute. They make me want to bash my head into the wall. The show is 50% well-done horror and suspense, and 50% just terrible garbage. It's also not the prettiest show, but at least it's better than the original VN, and has way more character than its currently airing sequel. But the mystery is so genuinely wild that even if you guess something and get it right, that thing is such a tiny fraction of the full mystery, and the twists are genuinely very surprising. So grab a group of friends and enjoy riffing on the bizarre garbage, or watch it alone and get lost in a fascinating mystery with no clear answers in sight. Higurashi is available on High Dive and Verve, with the follow-up seasons Kai and De. Ultimately, nothing will scare us more than other people. The knowledge that we can never truly understand someone or their motives will forever instill a sense of hesitation and trepidation in everyone. That is the theme of Aku no Hana, or Flowers of Evil. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys here, it's really not horror almost at all, but I spent too much time watching it to not put it in at this point, so just let me have this one. Right off the bat, I have to say that Flowers of Evil will not be for everyone, both in theme and in style. The show is 13 episodes of artsy rotoscoped animation that equate to about 3.5 hours of emotional abuse and the subsequent breakdown that it causes. And it's great. The story is about a girl blackmailing a boy and threatening to make him take off his mask to show his real and perverted nature. Such a simple premise leads to an incredibly uncomfortable and intense series of events that force you to consider both the pain and disturbed potential lying inside of all of us. A good number of people may be turned off by the rotoscope style, but I think it provides so much to the style and themes that I found a huge appreciation for it fairly quickly. You have a fascinating contrast between the beautifully crafted and detailed backgrounds being inhabited by these vague blobs moving through them. However, the backgrounds are ultimately just paintings, while these blobs convey real human emotion and motion in a way very few anime can. Additionally, by having the benefit of being entirely filmed first, the performances are palpably different than any other anime, as the performers are actually acting instead of just voice acting. The lip flaps are gone and are replaced by their real mouths, shouting these lines and expressing pain. Subtle movements you typically wouldn't see in animation are highlighted and give the show a powerful distinction to its rivals, as it floats in a nebulous limbo between live action and animation. A limbo akin to the one the characters inhabit. Flowers of Evil is available on Crunchyroll and Verve. But do you know what the scariest part of it all is? That none of it matters. The self-discovery, social circles, loyalty, all of it, pointless. The more we try to prescribe meaning to the entropy of our world, the less it will all make sense. That is paranoia. That is Paranoia Agent. Rumors, urban legends, copycats, and tall tales, it's all that life is. Who cares if anything we do is real? Who cares if anything we do is worthwhile? Everything is nothing but a fleeting fad, soon to be gone as quickly as it appeared. At the end of the day, we're just a paragraph in society's fiction. Or something like that, I don't know, there's like a lot in this show. It's good though. Obviously, there is no end to the amount of praise for Satoshi Kon and his masterful works, with Paranoia Agent being no different. This slot could just as easily have gone to Perfect Blue, but, well, there is no but here. They're both great and both well worth your time. I just chose to highlight Paranoia Agent as an excuse to finally watch it. I know I haven't really said a ton, but it's hard to say much without this just becoming a video essay on the show's brilliance. If you only watch one of these shows, make it Paranoia Agent. Or maybe Higurashi. Honestly, just flip a coin. Or watch both. Paranoia Agent is available on Funimation, and as always, I don't know how to end videos.